what's to it, man? Y'all already know how the squad do it. You got to stay moving to get through it. I hope everybody is blessed and stress free. And if you ain't, start knowing you can so you can stop thinking you can't. Today, Tuesday. Tuesday. I think everybody have good Tuesdays because it's like once you pass Monday, it's like smooth sailing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. One of the biggest things, though, one of the biggest things is what is snitching, right? What just primarily what do you call snitching? See, in my book, snitching is when you tell on another person, right? And that person that you tell on suffers consequences from the things that you spoke about. See, that's snitching, right? A person working with the police is something completely different than snitching. You're a cop at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's not snitching. Police are supposed to tell on criminals. So just because this person is primarily doing the same thing in the world on the streets that you're doing, it does not take away from the fact that they're a cop. You know what I'm saying? So you can't imagine looking at a thief and thinking that you won't get stole from by this thief. Yeah, they're gonna steal from you too. It's just a matter of time. Especially if you wind up with something that they really want that they can't go steal from nobody else. So it's primarily that. But it's a lot of street people that people are taking into this whole consideration, or they want to look at as being like rats and snitches in that manner, you know. And they say, well, you know, if you in the street and you doing anything in the street, any type of conversation or talking with the police is snitching. You have to take into factor and consideration the people that you are talking about. The people who come in contact with the police in these types of situations are less likely to be educated, right? Yet think that they're smarter than everybody else. And not so much as everybody else, just the police, right? So a lot of times, some of these dudes really do feel like they're going in here outsmarting the police. It's like, how dumb really are you? You have to be really dumb to think that a person who isn't good at their job is going to outsmart a person whose job it is to prove to you that you're not smarter than them. It's crazy. But that's what we got here. So today we're finna take a little time. We're finna take a little time and we're gonna break it down into parts because this thug was in here for a while. Okay? But he say he wasn't telling, you know, and even the person who he was supposed to told on said that he wasn't telling. But yet a lot of people want to just put a jacket on somebody because you know it makes for content. So it's like, you know what? We just gonna watch. We're gonna watch the interrogation that's not an interrogation. If he's not being interrogated, then how could y'all think that he's in there telling on somebody when he knows he's not being interrogated? Y'all just look at the fact, oh, he got food, but whatever. And again, shout out to the family, man, for I know it's probably somebody who probably want to say, oh, I had the whole, okay, cool, you got it, but bro had it. We finna watch this. So we finna get into Young Thug interrogation part one, cause we ain't gonna do this whole thing in just one sit. So this is part one. The family feels with my so what you're saying is you will talk to us without your attorney present. Yep. Okay. Questions that I wanted to be able to answer.
I mean, that's... Okay, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right.
The April incident on I-285, the two buses.
The questions that I won't be able to answer, I won't answer. So, right there, he's already setting the tone of saying, yeah, I'll talk to y'all, but whatever I can't answer, I won't. Y'all don't know what truths I know, so if I tell you, yeah, I don't know the answer to that, you just got to take that answer.
Belonging to the entourage for rapper Lil Wayne came under gunfire. Prosecutors say a simmering rap feud and gang tensions led to it. They believe they could pin Winfrey as the gunman.
I think Lifestyle was this, that was one of them? Yes. Damn. You know they have that one. You know they have since 6 o'clock and I have 8. You want some food? You want some food? They still ain't getting me. You want some food? Okay. We'll get you some food. I told them I got there. I was like, yeah, I'm some.
So they never offered Thug no food. They never offered him no food. Yet people are trying to say that, oh, you got food. The man just sat and told these folks they've had me down here since 6 o'clock and I still haven't ate. Do you want some food? Yes. What hungry motherfucker ain't gonna say that they want some food? So this is a whole different version of a person being gave something versus a person requesting something. So now all the way from the start of this, I'm looking at a man who's low key in control of this situation, or so he believes that he is, and from the sounds of it right now, he's getting his way as it goes.
That's jacked up, man.
I wish you would have told me when we were at your house. And I would have had them ready. I told you, what you? No, you did not. You was snuggled up with your fiance.
Between Roscoe and Lil Wayne and all that.
You want me to tell you honest? This is honest God truth. Man to man.
So I'm not gonna say that bro cut this in no kind of way. I'm honestly thinking that however he has it on here is the way that it was put out in its entirety. So the jumping, you know what I mean, or maybe he's just getting to the parts that matter the most. But if this is how it was put out, then this would mean that yeah, it's
This motherfucker is these niggas. They like these niggas. They're like brothers more than Birdman Wayne.
They doing what now, brother?
I said them niggas was damn near more brothers than Birdman Wayne.
Oh, Roscoe and Lil Wayne?
The more than you used to bring Wayne's drugs. Like trust them. I don't know what the fuck happened with them fools. Promises. Made promises. Just keep promises. Whatever you anytime you ever want to know anything, tell me. I'll tell you anything. I tell the world.
What's your number?
Yes, you can.
Hey.
I don't have your number.
Well, give it to me. You can't tell you.
Sometimes we be so caught up on the BS, we overlook everything else. Imagine being on trial fighting for your life. And during that same time, you got these YouTube platforms with 0 followers, 0 videos, post these interrogation footages that's normally not even released to the public until after a case is over. Who you think that's from? Let's be real here. You got it with Woody, you got a sneaky surveillance footage that's being released from Gunna, and now you got Young Thug. And at this point, after supposed to be celebrating beating a Rico, you got everyone in that camp who used to be cool, now going at it with not only they self, but the world, over snitching allegations. Fam, I'm gonna be real. What's going on down there on social media right now is simple. It's a competition of who can create the biggest storyline. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, somebody's life or reputation is put in jeopardy just so people can have something to talk about. But let's be clear, speaking on the truth and fishing for storylines are 2 total different things. Just like many things on...
okay. So from the looks of it, he did a look snippet in the beginning, and then now he's gonna start it at the beginning. So maybe them wasn't the beginning of the demos. See, this is how we know it's a real reaction video. You see what I'm saying? I'm watching before
A clip of a longer video is being talked about, and it's now viral. It's resurfaced on the internet from 2 years ago after having only 30 plus views. A 2-hour interrogation, only the audio of Young Thug, that was put up online by a page with 0 posts, 0 subscribers in 2023 while he was fighting for his life. And unless you really understand the street mentality, you might not even catch what's being said between the lines. And if you heard the edited clip, you might have took what he said out of context. To some, it sounds like Young Thug is trying to outsmart the detectives, play the game back on it. And to others, it look like he cooperated. Now, fam, I'm gonna be real. Of course, you know I'm not here to convince you that he is an informant or a snitch, cooperating, whatever you want to call it, or not. But I am here to present the facts. And I got a feeling, man, even when I present the facts, you still 9 times out of 10 gotta come from that environment to understand what he truly did. Now let's be real. We all know Young Thug came home and discredited everything Gunna had going on by calling him a snitch, not really focusing on the music from the outside looking in, because Gunna has even dropped the project since he been home, and Thug just dropped a song with Future. And some would say this karma. That's all on really how you feel. The crazy part is this video ain't new. As we just mentioned, the video we about to discuss that's now going viral is almost a decade old and dropped on a random YouTube channel with no watermark, no...
Hey man, I ain't gonna hold you, right? If you don't do music, if you don't do much of anything creative, you probably wouldn't understand Thug's position. And then on top of it, unless you going through what Thug went through, then you don't know Thug's position. So, he's fighting a life sentence. So the last thing he's probably doing is sitting in there. And then under the conditions that you in there, yeah, sometimes, man, a mental block is a mental block. So when he got out, he was probably more hurt than anything. We got to accept that, And when a motherfucker got you fucked up, they just got you fucked up.
Go barely 100 views in 2023 before Young Thug even had a verdict on his RICO case. As I said in the very beginning, be mindful of the timing of all this. Something of that magnitude, if someone wanted monetary gains, they would have gave it to a platform. They would have possibly sold it. They would have possibly waited until their channel was at least monetized. But to only post this, who you think it's from? So in this video, I'm breaking down this interrogation piece by piece. Not biased, no fake narratives, just the facts. I'm going to let y'all hear it for yourself while we pause and break down the details in between. At the end of the day, it's up to y'all, my family. I want you guys to remember, I'm going to give you no angles. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. Back in April 2015, Lil Wayne's tour bus was ambushed in Atlanta after a performance at Compound nightclub. As Lil Wayne's bus pulled off, gunfire rang out, leaving the bus riddled with bullets. And thankfully, no one was killed. Authorities quickly tied the shooting to Jimmy Winfrey, better known as Pee Wee Roscoe, a man connected to Young Thug's circle. Grew up in Cleveland Ave with Young Thug since a kid. Prosecutors claim that Pee Wee Roscoe wasn't acting alone. They pointed out phone records showing calls between Roscoe and Birdman right before the shooting. On those calls, Birdman allegedly told him it's time for that. Now, even though Birdman and Thug denied being behind it, prosecutors believe the shooting was part of a much bigger feud, the war between Birdman and Wayne.
If anybody kept up with that whole situation with Wayne and Birdman, like then y'all would understand and know who was the puppet master between a lot of the shit that was going on with Wayne, right? Like that whole Thug trying to do the Carter Six and then turning it into the Barter Six. See, if you don't know the history, then you will miss this. But anybody who remembers and knows the history, y'all remember what happened, right? When Wayne came out and dropped 500 Degrees. Y'all do remember why he dropped 500 Degrees, right? Y'all do remember whose idea it was to try to spark up that bullshit controversy with Juvie, because Juvie wanted to just go back and do your research, man, and y'all understand what the fuck is going on.
Inviting a man to your private part is the ultimate disrespect. But as you can see, this wasn't just street beef, it was business. Wayne had been beefing with Birdman and Cash Money Records for years over money and music. His long-awaited Carter 5 kept getting delayed. Lil Wayne finally snapped. He sued Birdman for $51 million, saying he wasn't being paid properly, and Birdman was holding back his music. He even went on stage yelling, "Cash money."
Niggas no love lost, like that shit to the groove. Thank you. I just want to turn y'all up for a second. You already know what it is. 3 Weezy album coming soon. Carter 5 coming soon. Fuck Cash Money.
So when Lil Wayne's bus got sprayed with bullets, the streets tried to connect the dots. And according to indictments, Lil Wayne was at war with the man he once called his father. And right in the middle of this war was a young star from Atlanta, Georgia on the rise. Jeffrey Williams, also known as Young Thug. At the time, Thug announced his Project Carter 6, or Barter 6, clearly modeled after Lil Wayne's Carter series. To Wayne, it looked like pure disrespect. To Thug, some argued it was respect. He idolized Wayne, but Lil Wayne wasn't trying to hit it. He went on record calling Thug's music garbage. Fans took sides. Some saw Thug as a new generation, and others saw it as Birdman's way of replacing Wayne.
And I saw it as Birdman's way of starting shit to try to push Wayne completely out of this shit and make him discredited for the shit that he was motherfucking saying. The same way he did Juvie and Turk and motherfucking BG. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody that, again, knows that history, like what type of motherfucker pays your artists in drugs, gang? You was paying them boys in work.
Now, meanwhile, Thug was heating up with Rich Homie Quan. The two had just dropped Lifestyle with Birdman's Rich Gang. Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug's first #1 hit. The song proved Thug could take the spotlight, and Birdman was standing right behind him. So while Wayne and Birdman was falling apart, Birdman was building up Thug as the next big star. But it seemed the story wasn't all hate. By July 2015, Lil Wayne finally spoke on Barter 6, and instead of firing back, he called it respect. Lil Wayne quoted, "I'm not going to be upset about someone being a fan of mine. That only makes me feel good, like I've done something right," end quote. He doubled down by saying he's a fan. I can't be mad at that. I'm glad my influence has made someone else want to go that far.
That wasn't no motherfucking, that was, bro, that was a motherfucker frying you. That's another man telling you, like, thank you for being my son. You my son. I ain't mad at that shit. Y'all want me to be mad at something when, like, he's clearly a peon. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's basically, in so many words, what he was saying without starting a friction. But how the fuck y'all, man?
Even with Young Thug luck, that moment showed it wasn't as black and white as fans made it seem. There was disrespect, but there was also admiration. Then comes Pee Wee Roscoe fate. Now before we even talk about this is a man who we gotta cover for his story himself. Because after looking up his criminal history for this story, now I know it's gonna be more to this than what we even talking about today, and I want y'all to stay focused. Because some people thought that he actually served 10 years for that shooting of Lil Wayne bus, but that's not the case. And this is a man who was already arrested on a RICO for gang criminal activity prior to being arrested for the YSL RICO, went on a run also and managed to come home the exact same months he went on a run. And of course we're talking about Jimmy Winfrey, aka Pee Wee Roscoe. After the tour bus shooting, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, plus 10 years probation. But just 3 years later, in 2018, the Georgia Supreme Court overturned his conviction, ruling the plea was improper. Winfrey walked free after just 3 years inside.
Rapper Lil Wayne pleaded guilty and accepted a 10-year prison sentence. He had until today to take a deal. Channel 2's Cobb County Bureau Chief Ross Cabot live outside the courthouse with why the DA's tough stance on gang cases may have persuaded the gunman to take the deal.
Man known on the streets as Pee Wee or Roscoe will spend 10 years in prison. The district attorney here in Cobb County believes the gang problem is getting out of control in Cobb and really the metro. We told you about a case last week in which his office asked the judge for a 350-year sentence in another gang case, so it's likely Jimmy Winfrey saw the writing on the
Man,
wall.
I don't even know why I just laughed at that, man. Free my dog, man. They gave bro 472 years, and it wasn't. He ain't shoot a gun, ain't stab a motherfucker, ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's another story. We'll get into that. But yeah, though, like, damn.
I think it was best for the client to do this and avoid the massive risk if he were to lose even on a single count in this case.
Many Aurora believes his client, Jimmy Winfrey, could have beaten most of the 27 charges in the indictment, but the prosecutorial mood against gangs and gang members in Cobb County is tough.
Anytime you say the word gang and there's an African-American individual, prejudices rear their ugly head, and that's just the reality of the way it is.
Winfrey will spend 10 years in prison for the April incident on I-285. Two buses belonging to the entourage for rapper Lil Wayne came under gunfire. Prosecutors say a simmering rap feud and gang tensions led to it. They believe they could pin Winfrey as the gunman. He was indicted on 27 counts, including a rarely, if ever, used charge that references domestic terrorism. Charges Winfrey pled to are gang-related counts. DA Vic Reynolds making no apology for his take-no-prisoners approach to gang charges.
If you come to Cobb County, you shoot at a bus. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but this gentleman shot at a bus over some beef that started in Atlanta. We're not going to tolerate that.
Either you can see the time of day on it.
Hey, nah, what is crazy about that, though, is that this is a bus, and it's innocent, like the driver, completely innocent. You know what I'm saying? Like, and imagine if, bro, would have got hit, and then them other people on that bus would have got hit. Like you was willing to do that for what? What was the compensation for you doing that? Like, this is what I mean by undereducated and just.
In your sentence, or you're going to be serving 200, 300, 400 years, as the DA has professed publicly that he would ask on every single gang case.
Well, that domestic terrorism charge was one of those dropped in this particular plea deal. Winfrey faces unrelated charges in other jurisdictions, but again faces now a 10-year prison sentence in this case. We're live outside the courthouse. Ross Cabot, Channel.
But then in August of 2020, just 2 years later, Winfrey accepted a new plea deal, pleading guilty to 2 gang-related charges. He was credited for time already served and transferred to Florida to serve time for unrelated charges. After his release in Florida, Winfrey was arrested again in Fulton County during a traffic stop in July 2021. At the time, he was found in possession of oxycodone and a gun, despite being included in the 2022 Georgia indictment. Winfrey was not immediately taken into custody and remained on the run for 14 months. Now, that 2022 was the second gang indictment, which I found strange, after he already pled guilty to one just 2 years prior, which we're going to talk about in another story. He was eventually arrested in June of 2023 in Las Vegas while attempting to use a fake ID. Since then, he's been in custody. But instead of going to trial just 14 months later after getting arrested, Roscoe cut his own deal in December of 2024. Strangely enough, his case was served from the main YSL trial, and he pled guilty to just one gang count and was later released from jail following a 10-year probation. No prison time, which means the same man prosecutors once painted as the shooter in Lil Wayne's bus ambush is back on the streets, while Young Thug was at the time still currently fighting for his life in court.
Okay. All right. Is this a negotiated plea? All right. Go ahead.
Would you like us to stand at the podium or?
It doesn't really matter, but the table's fine.
And what the fuck did Thug snitch on? What in the fuck did he snitch on? What are we talking about?
Yeah, do please use the mic.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Oh, you can hear me, Madam Court Reporter.
This case is before the person, Mr. Jimmy Winfrey, aka Mr. Roscoe. He's charged in indictment 22 SC.
I'm glad bro put this in the beginning to see, like, to paint a picture of what Pee Wee Roscoe was already going through and what he was already dealing with prior to Thug ever going to take 2 words to the police. Because a lot of this shows that honestly, it wasn't nothing Thug could have said or done for this man in no way, shape, or form to either snitch on him to make it bad or to try to help him out of it. He was gunned.
22 SC 183572, counts 1, 24, 25, and just for your honor's edification, the state will be dismissing count 26.
Okay. And I don't actually have a copy of the indictment in front of me. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Winfrey, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you state your true, correct, and legal name for the record, sir?
Jimmy, J as in jam, I as in igloo, M as in money, M as in multi, and Y as in young. Middle name Carlton. C is in currency, A is in Atlanta, R is in rich, L is in long, T is in Tommy, O is in options, N is in Nancy. The last name is Winfrey, W is in win, I is in incomplete, N is in Nancy, F is in free, R is in royalty, E is in entertainment, and Y is in young.
Did y'all peep the words that he chose to use for each one of the letters in this? That boy is, listen to me, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, okay, you have to, see, listen, being dumb before jail, when you finally go to jail for some time and you start to be able to pick up and learn how to read and comprehend and understand shit, yes, you start trying to think in these ways. And that was just real slick. Hey, you see his attorney smiling though. She started.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine, sir?
No, sir.
Is there any medication that you take regularly or on a daily basis that you have not taken today that would affect your ability to understand why you're before this honorable court?
No.
And Mr. Winfrey, can you tell me how old are you, sir, and how far have you gone in school?
I'm 34 years old. I made it with an 8th grade education. When I went to prison, I obtained a high school diploma through Stratford Institution.
Okay.
Bing, fucking bing. Did you hear what he said? He went to prison. He went to prison with an 8th grade education. Do you know? Do you understand that he went to prison with an 8th grade education? Imagine having that type of education while you're going up against fully seasoned detectives and police and people whose job it is to try to put you in jail. You've already lost, but your mind makes you think you know shit.
Your GED?
High school diploma.
Okay. And are you able to read, write, and understand the English language, sir?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are charged with the following offenses? In indictment 22 SC 183572, count 1, RICO, count 24, which is the violation of the Drug Act for the possession of oxycodone, and then count 25, which is the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. And then you understand that the state will be null processing count 26.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about that for your attorney, Ms. Miller?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you pled not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes, sir.
Have you had enough time to understand and speak with your attorney, Ms. Miller, about all the facts and circumstances of your case and why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
And do you need any additional time to discuss any questions or concerns that you have in relation to the plea that you're before this court to take today?
No, sir.
And are you satisfied with the services that Ms. Miller's provided?
Absolutely.
And Ms. Miller, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
He ain't even acting like a person who's been told on in no type of way, shape, or form. Period. Not now, not no other time, not shit.
As well as any defects in the indictment, including any with respect to your client's name for the purposes of this plea.
I do.
And Mr. Winfrey, has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge you'll be pleading guilty to?
Yes, sir.
And did Ms. Miller advise for count 1, the conspiracy to violate RICO, minimum is 5 years, the maximum is 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And for the possession of oxycodone that she advised, the minimum is 1 year, the maximum is 3 years.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, count 25, did Ms. Miller advise that the minimum for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon is 1 year, the maximum is 10 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have any questions about the minimum and maximum sentence you could potentially be facing based on your plea of guilty here today?
No, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Winfrey, do you understand this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means the state and your counsel, Ms. Miller, will make a joint recommendation to the court as it relates to
a negotiated plea. This means that both parties are in agreement to the fact that they are willing to make a plea deal, and now they'll leave it up to basically the judge to say which side that they willing to go for, or if they just gonna meet both of them in the middle. It's like, so typically when you take a plea, like, you tell on yourself. So I still don't see at no point in these situations where Roscoe is going to prison that he's been told on in no type of way, especially by Thug.
A sentence, but the court does not have to follow that sentence and can sentence you to the maximum on each charge and run the maximum for each charge consecutively or one after another if she sees fit.
Yes.
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 And do you understand that this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as in other jurisdictions, including the federal court, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Winfrey, do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, a guilty plea will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, regardless of any advice given to you by your attorney or anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses by entering a plea of guilty here today?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Winfrey, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights: the right to trial by jury, the right to remain silent, to not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to assistance of counsel hired by you or court appointed if you were unable to afford an attorney at the trial of your case, the right to presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and to compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt by the state of Georgia, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after trial. You understand that you are waiving or giving up all of those rights by pleading guilty here today?
Yes, sir.
And has anyone, Mr. Winfrey, forced, threatened, or promised you anything
God
to get you
damn,
to guilty plea before this honorable court here today?
No, sir.
And is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
And as it relates to the charges, how do you plead?
So this man took straight pleas, and then he gets out of jail and he goes on video, making a video telling y'all that Thug never snitched on him, and y'all are still. Motherfuckers went so far as to say he was brainwashed.
To count one and indictment number 22.
Oh, fuck.
572, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act.
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
And how do you plead to count 24, the possession of oxycodone?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
And lastly, how do you plead to count 25, which is possession of a firearm by a convicted felon?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
And Mr. Winfrey, is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of all the charges against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that you may only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge to file what's called a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
And is that something that you and Ms. Miller spoke about before today and that you fully understand?
I'm understanding all my rights of the guilty plea.
All right, let me just add, in addition, you have 30 days from today to file a direct appeal, and you have until the end of this term of court to file a motion that would seek to withdraw your guilty plea. Doesn't mean any of those would be granted, but those are the time limits. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Your Honor, this time I believe you have the indictment, but I would tender the indictment.
Yes.
proceeded to trial, again, kind of relates to this defendant, Mr. Winfrey. The state would have been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that between the dates of January 24th, 2013 and May 18th, 2022, Mr. Winfrey did participate and conspire while being associated with YSL to acquire directly or indirectly interest in United States currency and other personal property through a pattern of racketeering, as well as did conspire to conduct and participate directly and indirectly through that enterprise of YSL through a pattern of racketeering through the furtherance of a conspiracy with the objectives of preserving, protecting, and enhancing the reputation of YSL and the power and territory of that enterprise through the racketeering activity, which included murder, assaults, and other threats of violence, as well as obstructing law enforcement investigations and court proceedings through witness intimidation and attacks upon law enforcement, Your Honor. As it relates to counts 24 and 25, factual basis, that would be for the plea on both of those counts. Mr. Winfrey on July 10th, 2021 was pulled over here in the city of Atlanta. A traffic stop was conducted while he was in a 2021 Dodge Durango. During the traffic stop, the officer smelled a strong odor of marijuana, to which at that point the vehicle.
When you black, they always smell a strong odor of marijuana. It don't fucking matter. Even when you don't smell like a strong odor of marijuana, these motherfuckers somehow nostrils smells marijuana and it's strong.
Was searched, and there were several grams of marijuana, which he's not charged with, found in the car in a book bag, as well as 5 pills that were later tested by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, testing positive for oxycodone. Also within the glove compartment of the vehicle, a Glock 21 45 caliber handgun was located. Mr. Winfrey had a prior felony conviction out of Cobb County for participation in criminal street gang activity and aggravated assault and other related charges as it relates to the shooting of Lil Wayne's tour bus, Your Honor. That would be the factual basis as it relates to the charges in which Mr. Winfrey is pleading guilty here today. As I did state, he does have that felony conviction. There's one other felony conviction out of Florida. It was also a drug conviction.
Take a shot every time he said, rewind it and take a shot every time he said, your ass going to the hospital.
He was sentenced on November 5th, 2020, and successfully completed that sentence, which ended on November 4th, 2023. This time, I apologize. The recommendation to the court that we made as a joint recommendation by counsel is related to count 1, 10 years to serve, 2 years to credit the time served, release and time served, the balance to be served on probation, with the special conditions that the defendant no contact with any of his named co-defendants and any witnesses that would be testifying in future trials as we move forward, as well as the normal standard conditions that we must not violate the law, no firearms as he is a convicted felon, and maintain employment.
Okay, so with regard to him not having any contact with future witnesses, are you going to put a list together for me to put in the conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. We will provide the same list that we used for the prior pleas.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so, and what is the recommended sentence for the other 2 counts?
Concurrent sentence, Your Honor, as relates to count 24, 2 years to serve, time served, release and time served, and possession of firearms, 7 years for
Miller, is there anything the defense wants to put on the record?
Yes, Judge, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Winfrey is prepared to take this plea today. As Your Honor is aware, he has been in custody continuously for 18 months. Our position is certainly counts 24 and 25. He was in possession of the pills and the marijuana, and the gun was in the car. As it relates to the RICO, he did want to make clear to the court, understanding the nature of a conspiracy, much of that stuff that he is not charged with, he does not have specific knowledge of. However, he does understand that there is a sufficient factual basis for his plea to the RICO count. And, you know, as one could imagine, he is ready to go home and put this behind him. He has known Jeffrey Williams since he was a little boy. They grew up together in the same community, the Cleveland Avenue community. And much of this, as we have learned, started as kids who were friends and developed into a good deal of success for Mr. Winfrey and Mr. Williams in the music industry. That is what...
I don't think I ever heard as many goddamn times as I just heard it in this court.
I would like the court to focus on Mr. Winfrey has been gainfully employed in the music industry as a management professional. He manages talent. He also has successfully booked and promoted tours. That is the line of work that he will continue to be in while he is on bond. Of course, you know, he has a criminal history, and so his options for employment are somewhat limited, but he has carved out a profession in this world, and he looks forward to continuing that. There are many other artists that he works with, and he hopes to re-engage in that upon his release. My understanding from just to clarify for Mr. Winfrey, you know, to the extent that, for example, if Mr. Winfrey is working with Kendrick Lamar, who is a famous artist, and, you know, Jeffrey Williams, should he be on a tour together, that the no contact means no personal contact. There may be occasions where they are in the same arena together because of a tour that involves multiple artists. I don't know that this will happen, Judge, but I am anticipating this and just want to be really clear for Mr. Winfrey's sake and for the record's sake that the prosecutor is intending for there to be no personal contact between these two individuals for the duration of Mr. Winfrey's sentence and or Mr. Williams' sentence. As I understand, he has a similar condition. What we don't want is if, for example, Mr. Winfrey is able to book a tour with another artist whose management company is negotiating with him, and it relates to Mr. Williams, that he would be in violation. He just wants to understand the scope of it. I've discussed this with the prosecutor. The prosecutor has indicated that his intent with this no contact is no personal contact, no personal phone calls, no personal text messages, no personal communications with Mr. Williams for the duration of his sentence. But it does not mean that if, for example, there is a professional opportunity where his lawyers are negotiating with Mr. Williams' lawyers, that would not be, for example, a violation of his bond. And just wanted to make that point for the record, Your Honor. But he is absolutely understanding that no contact means no personal contact whatsoever. And to the extent there is a professional reason to have contact, that will be done through third parties with Mr. Williams's third-party representatives. In addition to that, for clarity's sake, Mr. Winfrey understands that he is to have no possession whatsoever of any firearms. However, due to the nature of his work, there are occasions...
Take a shot for every time she fucking says, and you will definitely go to the hospital.
Where professional security are hired, and I mean professional licensed security companies, as well as off-duty officers who may be around him and in possession of a gun. I've discussed this with the prosecutor. The prosecutor agrees that the no possession of a firearm certainly means no personal possession for Mr. Winfrey. but would not be implicated if, for example, a off-duty officer is working security. This does not mean, to use the prosecutor's expression, Peanut's on security, he has a gun. The understanding is that the security would be a professional licensed security company and or an off-duty officer. But with those two clarifications, Your Honor, we would ask that the court accept the plea as negotiated.
All right, and is that an accurate rendition of the understanding of the special conditions?
God damn.
All right, and can y'all clarify for me how long Mr. Winfrey has been in custody
18
on these
months.
charges?
She just said the shit.
Judge, the screen is showing August 13, 2023, the booking screen. Not sure what it was before then.
July 13th,
So about 17 months?
That's accurate, Judge.
All right, so are y'all intending for the 2 years to be commuted to time served?
Yes, Your Honor, we can do, if we'd rather, well, if you did a year, we could do 10 served. Or
16 months?
yes.
Okay. All right. All right. I find there to be a factual basis for this plea, and I accept it as freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of all of the consequences, and I am going to sentence in accord with the recommendation as just modified. On count 1, 10 years to serve 16 months with credit for time served, balance probated. On count 2, are we just saying 16 months to serve, credit for time served? And on count 3, not count 2, count 24, the second count, and then on count 25, 7 years probation, all of those sentences to run concurrently. Special conditions of your probation, you're to have no personal or social contact with any of the co-defendants in this case, and no contact whatsoever with any of the witnesses in any future trial on this indictment. You need to maintain lawful employment throughout the period of your probation, and you may not possess any firearms with the exception that you are allowed to be around professional security with firearms to the extent that that's necessary for your lawful employment. And with regard to the no contact with the co-defendants, again, there's the exception for what is necessary for your lawful employment with regard to, being around them, but there's to be absolutely no personal or social contact, and to the extent possible, any work necessitated contact should be through third parties. All right, and then any technical violations can be handled by probation's options management. I'm going to have, hopefully there won't be any other violations, but back to me with any violations. And I'm going to tell you some version of the same thing that I said to Mr. Williams. You are in an industry where a whole lot of young people watch with great attention.
We just gonna stop it there on the first part. We see what's basically going on, but y'all tell me in the comments, right? Do y'all think that up to now, what you saw as far as who Pee Wee Roscoe is and everything that he had going on and what he was going through, do y'all think that there was anything that Young Thug could have went and said or done that would have gotten him into any trouble, or if there was anything that he could have said that could have gotten him out of trouble? You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe to the page so y'all can know what's gonna go on for part 2, because we will be dropping part 2 because we gotta make it through the whole video. But again, also go check out My new song, The Fuck Is You Saying, streaming on all platforms, and it's spelled exactly how it sounds. The fuck is you saying? Just like that. Until we come back for part 2. Gone.